chat wants to know what today's tea is, and perhaps you could fill them in with the list that you gave me.
Oh, sure. So today's tea is a sweet cinnamon spice. Today's tea is also a oolong tea. Today's tea is also a blueberry acai pomegranate green tea. Today's tea is also a rose mint tea or dragon rose. Today's tea is also a orange spice tea. And today's tea is also I actually brewed up a special loose leaf in here. This is the critical blend that Lauren sent me for my birthday. So
oh wow, that's awesome.
I'm saving it for a special day.
Now, be honest with me. How many of those teas are actually yesterday's teas or the days before's teas still on your desk?
I just made them. I just made all of them. It took me 10 minutes to make every one of these teas.
Good afternoon and welcome to Idle Insights. My name is Dylan and I am coming to you live from Victoria, BC, Canada. I have a very special guest joining me today, but first I want to give a shout out and a thank you to our moderator and co-producer Jay, who's managing the chat and grabbing questions and doing all the other things that are really helpful for me, as well as a huge thanks to Dungeons & Dragons for hosting us on the official D&D Twitch. It is and will always be an honor to be here. Now, my guest today is the lead project developer on Idle Champions these days. Here to talk about Idle Champions Presents and hopefully answer all the questions you may have. Please welcome Peter, who I should unmute. And then he can actually answer some of those questions.
Hi, Dylan. Hi, everybody.
How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah.
And... so one of the things that happened when we announced Idle Champions Presents on, I can't remember if it was this week or last week. I think it was this week. Yeah, it was this week. Time is a thing. And one of the things that players are most wondering is how does the show, or does this project, affect the game? Because we didn't tease very much information in the initial blog. We mentioned that you will be able to vote for some of the things that you see in the show, and gave a couple of examples. But can you shed some light on what this show integration is going to be like?
Sure thing. So we have voting every day of the week except the day the stream's up and live, and we have rewards every day except the day the stream's up and live. And the rewards are based on the vote results that we get. So they are available the day after the voting ends. That day's reward becomes available. Some of those are new kinds of buffs that will be dropping in, and others are the classic rewards that everybody loves to pick up during our spectacular extravaganzas, etc.
Okay, so is it going to be like a reward chest that they collect each day, or what does it look like?
Like a buff drop, that kind of thing. Like a potion. Maybe not chest-sized rewards.
Okay. And how does one interact with this? Like when you're in the game, is it going to be similar to what we did with the High Rollers and Acquisitions Incorporated integrations?
Yeah, quite similar to that. A little bit more robust, a little bit more voting, a little more influence on the actual stream event, and I guess a little easier to get the rewards. So no voting required to get any rewards. Just show up, come grab your reward for the day, come grab your reward for a couple days past probably, and vote to have B-Dave change the game for them.
And how long are rewards available? Like if you vote on a Tuesday, will you be able to pick up that reward the following week, or is there a set amount of time?
I think the plan is that you can grab last week's rewards and any rewards for this week on any given week, and then they'll just sort of expire right at that point.
Okay.
So you want to keep coming back, but it's not so punitive as some of them have been.
And then So for somebody who doesn't care about watching the show at all, because they're like, I don't stream, or I'm just not interested, they'll still be able to vote if they want to vote. But if they choose also not to do that, they'll still be able to get the rewards.
That's right. That's the plan.
Okay. And I had a short list of questions I wanted to make sure I got through, just so that I'm thorough. Let's see. Each vote lasts for how long?
The votes last for 24 hours.
And they reset at the
PST,
daily reset?
They reset at noon PST.
Okay. So with our daily reset. Okay. Can you give some insight into what kinds of ways players will be able to affect their game with the votes? Affect
their game, or affect the stream game?
Idle Champions specifically, not the show, but the game. Like what? Just trying to get an idea of what the game.
So we'll have like week-long buffs for formation abilities for the champion that maybe wins a vote for a day, that kind of thing. Other week-long buffs, probably some potions of polish, that kind of thing.
Okay, cool. And let's see, I asked that question. I have other stuff that I can answer afterwards. Can you give some insight into how this integration differs from the previous ones that we've done? Like what have we learned, essentially?
What have we learned?
Oof. Yeah.
I think that's a good question. This integration's a little tighter. It's a little more user-friendly. I think we found that, we often get people coming back and upset that they've missed out on rewards, so we're going to try and work around that problem, that these aren't meant to be something you missed out on. They're meant to be a bonus for coming and checking out the game. So
yeah.
Besides that,
okay,
sure. I think we wanted to have the ability to have the players of Idle Champions have more influence over the stream, and I think that's something we're certainly going to be tackling.
Yes, we had a lot of, not a lot of feedback, I would say, but I remember when we did things, we worked with High Rollers for a Rogue's Gambit, and we worked with Acquisitions Incorporated for, I want to say, the C Team's third season, I think it was. And I know a lot of the times the votes for Acquisitions Incorporated, people didn't know what the two outcomes meant. It's like, vote for this thing that's homebrew or this thing that's homebrew, and people are like, I don't know how I'm affecting this show. And, so we wanted to make sure that I think we would balance that out more, but also make people feel like they have a tangible impact. Is there anything tied to the integration in the show that is going to allow people to see the impact that they've made in the live stream?
Absolutely there is. That was excellent cueing. We are going to have clips embedded directly in some clients and links to clips in clients where we can't handle that, of what the effect of that vote was in the once the stream is aired. We'll cut a clip related directly to the vote and put it right there for you to see exactly what happened with the previous votes and exactly what that meant.
Okay, that's super cool. I'm excited about that part. And so far we have spoiled what two of the possible options for a daily vote are. We talked about the inspiring choice one, picking a character to get inspiration, leading to in-game buffs and buffs in stream kind of thing. And You're the DM Now, which was a little more abstract. I realized as writing out the description that it can, in fact, the questions for it vary so wildly that it's just different ways to affect the game that will have different ways to affect Idle Champions as well. Now, there's another one on here that I had kind of earmarked to talk about today, and I hope this is all right. But there's one option that's called Dice Roll.
Yeah. Yes, there is. We're going to give all the players the ability to roll a d6 with a random prize attached to the result of that d6 roll. And that will be the reward for the voting day in which we give a d6 to one of the players in the live stream.
Okay. And what kind of, do you have an idea of what kind of rewards are going to be in there?
Provided we're allowed to talk about that kind of stuff. I don't know what I'm allowed to talk about. I just make things.
Maybe not specifically exactly what it is, but what kinds of things are there, I think.
So there's a variable number of chests based on some of the rolls, and then if you roll a 6, we have a super secret prize. Is that the right way to put it?
I think so.
Exclusive?
Yeah,
Maybe
it's fun.
that's
But
the way to put it.
I guess my follow-up to that, because I know somebody's going to ask this, if somebody misses out on a dice roll for the super exclusive secret prize, are they going to have another opportunity to get that prize later?
We are going to have a number of these dice rolls, and yes, they will have, you might say, an increased chance of getting the super exclusive secret prize later.
Okay, so if they participate through the whole thing, they don't have to worry about whether or not they'll get it in the end.
That's right.
Okay, cool. That's the dice roll one. Can you tell me, because there's a did we end up going with an in-game effect for the dice roll?
There is an in-game dice roll. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm excited to see that.
It's a special new reward from one of these. Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully something we can use again.
Yeah, and then I have a bunch of questions here. So some of them I can answer. One of them was asking about whether or not if somebody votes for the outcome that doesn't end up winning, does that mean anything, or is it just a majority rules the vote and the effect is based on the majority?
Majority wins. Yeah, it's democracy. Whatever vote wins, that's what will theme the reward, and that's what will happen in the game. Voting for the losing outcome just means you didn't get your way, and you need to bring more friends on board to vote, or you can complete challenges and earn more votes.
Oh, okay. Tell me about that.
Each week we'll have 6 challenges available, similar to the C-Team challenges that we had. If you complete a challenge, you get an extra vote that you can use on any of the weeks.
Okay, so
any of the weeks, any of the days, any of the votes.
So you could have 35 bonus votes for the last one if you saved them up?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I hope somebody does that. And just slants it ever so slightly in a different direction. That'd be hilarious.
That's right.
Okay, and then, because I know you're probably busy to go and have to go back to work on this as soon as we're done chatting. Is there anything else? I'm just trying to look through the options, because I can talk about what kind of things they can expect because I have that info. But let me just double check that there's anything. Okay, so just going through the questions, making sure that I'm not missing anything.
No worries.
Is there any benefit to participating in voting beyond the daily, weekly buffs, or is the reward its own reward, I guess?
I think it's all about just knowing you may have had some influence on exactly what I imagine is going to be an awesome stream. So you got to have a fair bit of input on a very cool sounding stream.
Okay. And then, let's see, is there anything else that I'm missing? We answered the question about what happens if you don't win the roll. We answered the question about... I can talk more about the stream online stuff. Somebody asked, will there be a way to see what the voting leaders are like on a daily basis, or when do you find out who wins?
We're only going to reveal the result of the vote as a tally after it's completed. We're not going to show the ongoing results. Not going to try and skew the poll.
Okay, so people are just going to vote anonymously, and then they're going to find out the next day what happened.
That's right.
Okay. And let's see. Other questions are not directly... Does anybody have any other questions related to the Idle Champions Presents in-game aspect? Because I think we've covered it pretty thoroughly, and I'm going to add more to our blog to share afterwards. But are there any other questions for Peter on that subject before we move into the ye old dev-related questions? Somebody called it a secret ballot. That is kind of an accurate way of describing it.
Yeah.
Wait for a moment. I always feel the need to fill the silence because it's just
reasonable.
Sitting here. Well, it's actually one of the things that I've received feedback. They're like, you should be okay with silence. I'm like, but I thought I was supposed to fill it. Somebody asking about European players with this integration. So the reset is at 12 p.m. Pacific time, so that'll be 8 p.m. GMT. And the show will be airing at 4 p.m. Pacific on this channel on Mondays, which will be midnight at GMT. And then we're gonna look at where in our schedule we can do a rebroadcast that's a little more friendly outside those hours. But the VODs will be available, and we will be putting the episodes up on YouTube as well. So anybody interested in going back and checking out previous episodes, finding out what shenanigans everybody got up to, will be able to do that. Okay, so some questions about rewards. Let's see. Somebody asked if it's possible to give somebody disadvantage with a vote. It is certainly possible. I'm not sure where in there. So a lot of these we have to set in advance, just because some of them require being programmed into the game. The ones for the TRPG are the ones that are easy to improvise, because we're like, B-Dave, the players voted for this, and then he just incorporates it into the game. But anything that has an in-game effect has to be determined in advance. So we have the entire first adventure, the first 3 weeks already planned out, I think. And we're still working on the other ones. But yes, imposing advantage or disadvantage, affecting attack rolls, skill checks, ability checks, that kind of stuff is going to be a thing. So if you want to make things easier or harder for your favorite characters on the show, you can do so. Although I did find that when we did this before, people almost always voted for it to be easier for the players. So we'll see what we can do to shake things up a bit. What else do we have for questions? Somebody asking if this is the rumored cooperative feature for Idle Champions that
this
Justin had
is not
teased.
the rumored cooperative feature.
Okay.
That's still a secret.
Yeah. To follow up on that, any idea on when players might be able to start hearing about it?
When they might start hearing about it? I don't know. We don't like to talk about what we're doing.
Yeah, we really don't.
We like to have it well established, and it is not well established. Hopefully they'll be hearing about it later this year, if that's close enough to.
That's good.
We're
that's
in
good.
February.
You gave yourself a lot of space
months.
there to work within.
It's a nice big runway.
Yeah. I gotta say, for the very first time, I got some insight into what that might look like recently, and I was surprised and amazed, and very much looking forward to seeing how it comes together. But I have to be careful with my hyping of things, because I hyped Idle Champions Presents a bit much, because I am super excited for it, because it's been a lot of work, and players thought it would be a feature that they wanted, not a feature that was requested, because we got a lot of requests to do an integration again, but then people kind of forgot about it and were focused on other things that they want to see, and I don't think we talked about the integration at all in our end of year vlog last year, actually, now that I think about it.
Could be.
Oh well.
I'm really excited to see somebody play Baloth live. Baloth feels like such a fun character to me, so I can't wait.
Mark Meer plays Baloth extremely well, as I've come to expect from Mark Meer at this point. He did. They had a guest appearance. Lauren, can I talk about their guest appearance? Lauren's in chat, because Lauren is everywhere. I'll let. Yes. Okay. So Mark as Baloth, B-Dave as Freely, and Aaron Evans as Havilar joined Dungeon Drunks for the episode that came out yesterday. And so anybody who's interested in getting a bit of a preview on what the party dynamic with Havilar and Baloth is like, can check that out. Also, Dungeon Drunks is pretty awesome and really entertaining, and Lauren is amazing. As well, you can check out Mark Meer as Baloth and Christina Ariel as Ariza on a regular basis on Improvised Champions on Mondays. We have a number of episodes of that have gone out. They're Twitch VODs. They're not on our YouTube. And the party dynamics are interesting. You got to have at least one chaotic evil person in your party, right? It just messes things up.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody following up, the daily challenges tied to the voting for Idle Champions Presents, those will be daily chances in the lead up to an episode, prior to the episode, not afterwards?
That's right. Weekly challenges, no dailies in there, and complete them over the course of the whole week. There's a couple easy ones, a couple medium hard ones, and a couple difficult ones. So everybody should be able to earn a couple extra votes, and then dedicated players should be able to get a solid 6 extra votes every week.
Okay.
Which, again, you can use whenever you want.
When does voting start?
Voting starts Tuesday.
Okay, so that is the 16th of February.
16th.
That's next Tuesday. Wow, that's faster than I thought. The show starts on the 22nd, so
yeah,
that's exciting. Let's see, I answered that one. Just to be clear, for one of the players, voting will be in the game Idle Champions, in the game client, not on Twitch or through Twitch. Though I am sure they will be paying attention to Twitch chat, and who knows? I mean, you never know when you might suggest something in Twitch chat to a TRPG player, and they might just do it. So you'll see. What else?
That's the beauty of that format.
Yeah. Garugi wants to know how many times they can roll the d6.
You can roll the d6 once each time that it's a reward. Whatever you get is what you get. No rerolls.
Okay.
No, it bounced off the table.
But they get a bonus that accumulates over the course of each time they do it, so that they will get at least one 6 roll.
That's right.
What happens on subsequent 6 rolls? Like, say you're lucky. Say you're freely and you get 6 on your first one.
You may not have a chance to roll another 6.
Okay. So is it one of 6 rewards and you just kind of work your way through them?
That's right. As long as you play every single or as long as you claim that reward for that day each week, you'll get each of the rewards.
Okay.
It's sneaky. It looks like a dice roll. It feels like a dice roll. But
and the first one is a dice roll.
That's right.
Yeah. And then all the other ones, all subsequent ones, get modifiers added to them.
That's right.
Okay. Do we have rewards that... Let's see. This is an odd question, and I don't know if it's something we've addressed. Could we have rewards that are not only a choice, but where more votes total makes the reward better, like a higher gold multiplier or more health on a boss? If the community overwhelmingly votes for something, will that adjust the potency of the reward or the buff?
I mean, I don't believe that's the current plan, but like you said, a bunch of these are things that, you're the DM now, and B-Dave is going to see the vote total percentage. You might be like, well, this was really close. Maybe maybe there's a few of those other monsters here, or this was overwhelming. Maybe there's like a boss-sized brutal version of these guys in here. So okay. I think there's room for them to be interpreted sometimes. I was thinking when you were talking about the disadvantage, it would be great in an instance where we were giving advantage to one champion that the loser actually got disadvantage on a roll as chosen by B-Dave.
Oh man, that's funny.
Extra loser.
Yeah. I'll pass that along. I think that will probably happen. Let's see. Master Burglar. Will it be about 2 hours for the stream? Episodes of Idle Champions Presents are run from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. Pacific. 3 hours. The reason being that while we've already detailed out the one-shot adventures the mini adventures that they're playing on, we wanted to give room for the cast to interact with each other and have time to breathe and have moments where they get to have the spotlight. And in a 2-hour episode, it kind of moves pretty quickly, but in a 3-hour episode, that just kind of like gives everybody a bit of breathing room, which is especially good for people like Mark and Christina, who can act and come up with a lot of stuff and monologue and make for really interesting things. So we intentionally made the shows the 3 hours long, which gives it a good healthy 9 hours for the whole thing. The last episode will probably be mostly the last episode of each adventure, so episodes 3 and 6 will probably be very much taken up by the whatever final encounters are. I don't want to spoil them yet, but I can say that for people who are into playing 5e, these will be coming out as free PDF one-shots where you can grab it, all the content, as each one concludes. So after the first adventure wraps up, The Unfair Seas, on the 8th of March, after that we will release The Unfair Seas as a PDF that is, is written by Scott Fitzgerald Gray, one of the editors of the 5e books. It is a high-quality D&D 5e PDF. And so we'll be doing that for both of them. Okay. If you want to balance choices, you can make a reward depend on success by the party. So harder challenges mean better rewards, but less of a chance of success. Yeah, we could do that. I don't know that we're planning to do that, but we could do that. One of the fun things about this, just as an aside, is that this is, all of our integrations are an experiment to a degree, and we're trying this out. And if this is something that you, the audience, likes, and that the players like, and that is fun for everybody involved, there is opportunity to iterate on it and keep going. That was one of the reasons that we chose to do this in a TRPG show that we put together instead of working on it with a partner, is because if we want to keep it going, we just do. It's a little different. It's not set to some kind of contractual thing with another organization. Not that those are bad to do, but
Yep.
Okay. Somebody asking about whether or not we will make any adjustments to Black Viper before this begins, since Black Viper is one of the featured characters.
Certainly not before it begins, unless I've made changes to Black Viper I forgot about. But I think it begins as soon as really humanly possible here. But obviously, this might highlight issues with Black Viper. So if people are unhappy with Black Viper, and then it gets on our radar, well, then Black Viper will probably get changed.
Yeah,
but no current plans. So
I think the thing about Black Viper is that she was extremely awesome and promising when she first came out, and then we iterated on her design with better characters afterwards, and just left her in the dust. So she's still really good, but she doesn't compete with the current meta champions that are really awesome for DPS that just scale better.
Right.
Yeah.
I gather she stopped dropping red gems in offline progress at some point, which is not okay.
And then the other thing is that the red gems cap out, whereas the other good DPS don't cap out, which is why
they just keep going.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, we should. I don't know. We could potentially look at Black Viper. Okay, this is an interesting one. So say hypothetically you roll a 6 every week on your die roll. You'll still work your way through all the prizes.
Yes.
Okay.
You won't see a 6 every week on your die roll. I promise.
Let's see. That was a show-related one. That. Oh, that is an interesting question. So, a player is talking to us about the colors that we use for rare and epic colors, because the blue and purple that we use are bad for people with types of color blindness.
Huh.
Which I hadn't thought about. That's good feedback. I'm going to make a note here to just pass that along, just to flag it for later, because that's a little inconvenient for some people.
Absolutely.
And then let's just double check that there's nothing else that's directly related to this. I don't think there is. Everything else is something that I can answer. So if anybody has any other integration related questions, please ask now, or I will let Peter go back to work, because I know Peter's got a lot to do. Just wait for a moment.
You get any feedback about your background from the chat?
Which background?
Well, your house.
Oh, my house?
The inside of your home.
Yeah. Somebody asked me about the giant D20. That's the one that our Wizards of the Coast D&D gift, like Christmas 2017 thing. it sat on my desk at the office when I still had a desk at the office in the before times, and I just moved it there.
Okay.
But otherwise, the stuff that people could see is all pretty much video game related stuff. There's like a huge pile of papers and stuff right here that I've moved out of the way of the view of the camera, and like all the personal photos are like right here at a view and like stuff like that, because home offices being what they are. And I hate the color of the walls in here. The yellow, it's like almost like halfway between yellow and eggshell, and it does weird things to color. It's just, it's a pain in the butt.
You gotta get a setup like Todd.
Oh, Todd's setup is so good. Yeah. But he was the DM on Beyond Heroes, and then has been on a bunch of other shows and interview shows and stuff. So he's got a professional setup. That is something that all of us who work remotely now, but also stream remotely, could probably look into. Maybe
you just need candles, black drop and candles. That's the
God.
Key.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. What do we have? Will the stream or the integration utilize Twitch drops at all?
Not at this time. No plans to use Twitch drops right now. That'd be interesting. I don't know if anybody's done IRL Twitch drops. To have drops in a stream with actual live people just acting on a webcam would be nifty. I guess it'd be very similar to how we did Twitch drops, but
yeah, we just kind of activated them. That wasn't tied to the game doing something.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, and then
no plans at this time.
This is an interesting one. Fat Cat wants to know if this opens the door for the voting in game to potentially be able to impact future champion reworks or reiterations.
Oh, I mean, that'd be interesting. Certainly, we'd know what the player's favorite really is, but maybe they like the actor and not the actual character in game.
Hey, that happens. I mean,
need to have a write-in ballot. It's like, I hate this player or I hate this character, but I love this actor.
That's fair. Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. Somebody following up with like, "Hi Peter, any plans on giving Black Viper infinite gem stacking mechanics similar to Zorbu's lifelong enemies? She needs a buff."
So I might be the lead dev, but I am not the lead designer. That man has not changed. So that's the kind of question I can't answer for him. I would get in trouble if I commented on anything like that.
Yeah. Garwar suggesting that Twitch dropping Electrum chests whenever somebody rolls a natural 20 during the show would be really awesome. Which, that would be cool.
Yeah, we'd have to tighten up our integration on a couple platforms with Twitch drops.
Yeah, Twitch drops were a challenging thing. I really love something that encourages people to interact with the show, whatever the show is, whether somebody's playing a game or whatever. I think that's really cool. But Twitch drops were a challenge, as I recall.
Yeah, they would certainly be. Yeah, they'd be a lot of fun to use effectively. But they also, I mean, some people just can't watch the stream live, and there's even just sort of logistical issues with using Twitch drops. It's like the European players who would be staying up till 3 a.m. trying to watch the stream to get those bonuses. Yeah,
and I don't know if we can line up the Twitch drops to do it again if we did like a rebroadcast from, I don't know, 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. our time. So it's like the opposite. And I don't know if that's possible. Yeah. That's pretty cool though. Okay. This is an interesting question from one of the players. What is the difference between a developer and a designer?
Designers wave their magic hands and come up with really cool interactions between characters, and the development team makes those things reality. The designers don't have to worry about any implementation details, which is great because it means that they don't hamstring themselves and say, well, that would be hard, so let's not do it. They say, this would be cool, so make it happen.
That sounds like it's really easy to deal with all the time.
I think our design is so Well, I really enjoy the design of the game. I really enjoy the interactions between all the champions. I really like when we get a design, even when it's hard, and I go, "Oh, that's so cool!" When how this will work with somebody else that already exists, or I even know about upcoming champions and go, "Oh, this next person's going to work really cool with the last one we just released." So that's neat.
Okay, and then let's see. Somebody asking about the continued challenges related to offline progress and what you can speak to on how offline progress works.
Yeah. So we added offline progress to try and mitigate the complaints that like being stuck on one level and just being given gold for that level based on how many monsters you should be killing was tacky and no fun. So we tried to make it so the game could play offline. The game plays heavily in the client, so some of that is hard to fix. And then we added the giant wrinkle of Modron automation and multi-party on top of that. And we appear to have some issues in the mix. So we are going heads down on fixing offline progress, Modron automation, and multi-party issues soon. I hesitant to use soon TM, but legitimately very soon.
I don't know enough about development to ask an intelligent question about about that process. Okay. We're getting some
you can rest assured that all the issues that still exist are much harder for us to reproduce than the ones we've been knocking out. So when something gets reported and we're like, oh yeah, got it fixed, and it's out the next week or next month for Switch, that's the kind of thing like, okay, yeah, there's a very reliable, reproducible issue. That's why it always helps if you are if you have a complaint or something didn't work right for you, that if you have like something that you do that maybe we wouldn't do when we're trying to reproduce the test, if you mention that when you report it to whoever you report it to, whether it be Discord, the tickets, whatever, that gives us a way better opportunity to fix it. So it makes a tremendous difference, and it can literally be a sentence that just twigs something for us on our end and makes it a million times easier to find and solve. A lot of these they're just not reproducing in our dev environment, so hence the dedicated fixed time to some of those issues coming up soon.
Yeah. Can you give me an example of a type of bug that might take a lot longer to fix than one would normally expect, or one that is easier to fix than one would expect?
Well, I bet the players could tell you a billion issues that are harder to fix than one might expect. But I think one that stands out in my head is Jim, for some set of players not attacking. There is something we're not getting about that. We have never had it happen here. In our development environment, on our test servers, Jim attacks. And he attacks in his box. He attacks out of his box. He just attacks all the time. With one exception, but it was unrelated to Jim specifically. And for easier ones, there was a thing that just happened, that just came up, where I had been writing it off for some amount of time, saying I'm not really sure what's happening there. Or the iOS players had a complaint that they were seeing all their achievements pop again, and tested that, and over and over again said, I cannot reproduce this. I really wish I could help, but I can't fix it. And then someone posted that they go and change the song on Spotify and come back to the game, and that's when it happens, reproducibly every time. And sure enough, they were right. If you closed the game, or not closed the game, if you minimized the game on your phone and reopened it, it would happen immediately. But of course, that was not part of my test platform for iOS. So that sentence, knocked the whole thing out in like 2 hours. So
wow,
that's that kind of much easier thing. So it's there's a sentence like that for Jim, guys. It's out there, and as soon as we get it, we'll
whatever it is that causes him to stop attacking. Well, somebody in chat just said it has to do with him dying.
Oh, see, there you go. Already, there's a chance.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe he dies as a box or something.
Yeah.
Let's see. These questions none of the other questions are tied to the integration, so thank you for taking time out of your very busy day to join me on stream, Peter. I really appreciate it. And,
my pleasure.
Very much looking forward to once this all starts on Tuesday. That's so soon.
That's right. That's so soon.
Thanks a ton for joining me, and
thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. Have an awesome rest of your day / week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, cheers. There's a notification there to ask Peter questions. Definitely don't want to mention asking Peter questions after this. Okay. Yes, Coding Monkey. The voting for Idle Champions Presents starts on Tuesday, February 16th at 12 p.m. Pacific. And so that'll give you 6 days, 6 days of voting, with the last one wrapping up at noon on Monday the 22nd. And then the first episode will be on the evening of February 22nd at 4 p.m. Pacific. I am very excited. We've talked about and announced our cast. We have the awesome, wonderful, totally a pleasure to work with Mr. B. Dave Walters as the Dungeon Master for Idle Champions Presents, we've worked with really closely on this integration. A lot of the voting options in terms of what players can vote for to affect the game are ones that he wrote with us or wrote for us. He and our live services manager, Chris Dupuy, have been going back and forth on all those votes for weeks, which is a blast. I talked about inspiring choices, dice rolls, and You're the DM Now. There are 2 other types of votes in our system that we'll eventually talk about. And the variety of effects, both in Idle Champions the game and in Idle Champions Present the live stream, are pretty varied. So really, really super excited about that. And I'll expand upon the blog on Idle Champions Presents later today, assuming I don't get interrupted by something. But I'll add some more context and options. We announced our cast for all 6 episodes. The core 3 champions, Christina Ariel, who we haven't said who she'll be playing yet, but she'll be playing a character on the show. Aaron M. Evans, author of the Brimstone Angels novels, will be playing Havilar from the Brimstone Angels novels. And Mr. Mark Meir, who some of you may recognize from a lot of BioWare games, most notably probably this little-known series called Mass Effect that may or may not have been the best trilogy in the recent decade or so of gaming, where Mark voiced Commander Shepard, or the male camp Commander Shepard, opposite Jennifer Hale as the female Commander Shepard. Mark will be playing Baloth Baratil, which is going to be fun. And then we have 2 guest stars. First, we had originally envisioned a party that could be rearranged through voting, kind of like you would in the game, right? You'd have somebody who's your tanky character and be like, this one isn't working as well, and we'd be able to swap them out. As it turns out, when you're planning out a TRPG show like this, you kind of need contracts in place and people lined up and availability set and stuff well in advance, not really allowing you a huge amount of freedom like that. So what we settled for instead was to go with a couple extra guest adventurers, guest champions for each of the 2 adventures. So for the first adventure, our first guest is Vivid Vivka playing the Black Viper, reprising her role as the Black Viper. Actually, Vivid Vivka was the cosplay model of the Black Viper when at the Stream of Many Eyes, the Waterdeep Dragon heist announcement, as well played Esvel Rosnar, Lady Esvel Rosnar, and the Black Viper on a show called Dice Camera Action, which had games at TwitchCon and on the live stream. So she's very familiar with the Black Viper, and she also played the Black Viper as part of Founders and Legends last year in a game that was DM'd by Satine Phoenix that had B-Day playing Freely and Aaron Evans playing Havilar and Luke Gygax also in that game. Anyways, we have a second guest that we will be announcing early next week for the first adventure. And then for the second adventure, which we'll talk more about later, the first guest is Adam Bradford, from who you may know from Beyond Heroes, played Briv Steelmarrow, and the second guest will also be announced later. We're just holding some of them back. We don't want to spoil things too far out, but we're really, really excited. There's some really fun stuff tied to it. It's pretty cool. Okay, so there were a couple follow-up questions related to color blindness and color, how visible some parts of the screen are. So I'm kind of flagging those so that I can pass it along to the higher-ups in the dev team, not just Peter, but also to David and Justin to kind of flag, because it's something that I think we should look into if we're able to devote resources to it. There were a few other things that were tied to the show that I can answer, so I'm going to go into them as I kind of work my way through these questions. So just give me a second. I'm going to take a drink and hop to it. Oh, my shoulders bother me today. All right. So what do we have? Will participating in the voting have any benefit? I believe we kind of covered this both directly and indirectly. So participating in the voting allows you to help to shape the direction of the show and of what kind of rewards you get in game. However, participating in the voting is not necessary to reap the rewards of the votes. Whatever wins will be awarded to players, provided you pick it up in time. Just now, Peter was saying that you should be able to get this week's and last week's rewards. So basically, by week 3, make sure you've picked up the first week's stuff. Let's see. Will we be able to see what the vote leaders are? No, you won't. This is kind of a blind vote. Will Idle Champions Presents be able to be streamed offline afterwards? Well, so I don't know that you'll be able to stream it offline. We're planning on making it available both as a VOD on the Cne Games Twitch and as well as on our YouTube. We don't have any plans for a way to download the episodes. If that's something that enough people are interested in, we could look at possibly making that a reality, but it's not currently in our plans. Let's see. No podcast version of the show? That's a good question, Lauren. We're not currently planning on it, just because of the amount of work that would be, and people won't really be able to people who are podcast listeners, unless they're already playing the game. I don't know. It's not something that was in our plans, Lauren. The only podcasts we put together are the ones for Champions of Lore, and probably also a Champions of Psychology will be eventually released as a podcast as well once it's ready. Luckily, that show's not really time sensitive. Anyways, okay. Let's see. What is the intention behind changing to Electrum chests? They're good for new players, but generally weaker than previous gold chests. Is that by design? They're a different chest. We've been giving away gold chests through our partner portals and through our partner relationships and on our shows for years now. And it was time for a change. 2021, year of change. In terms of whether or not people view them as weaker than gold chests, they're different than gold chests. They don't offer feats or epics, but they do offer loot for every champion and an opportunity to fill out your collection and an opportunity to get a shiny for any champion. So, we're happy with them so far. If you have more feedback on it, though, please feel free. We do read the threads on Reddit and on the Discord when people get into discussions about it. We're interested in what you think. Are these one-shots going to be published adventures? Yes and no. They're not going to show up in a book. Like, if you were hoping to pick up your special edition Idle Champions Presents book, like this Everon Risings from the Last War, we're not going to publish anything on paper. But what we are going to do is we are going to release The Unfair Seas, which, for those of you who are familiar with the name of the adventure, it's our it's our Fleet's Wake adventure. It's based on that. So I worked with Scott Fitzgerald Gray, one of the editors of the 5e novels, 5e TRPG books, who has been writing and editing D&D books for decades now. Amazing writer. I think it goes by Scott F. Gray on Twitter. And to adapt the in-game Idle Champions adventure into a TRPG one-shot that we then, filled with art, formatted, put it into a print thing, added, the legal licensing and all that stuff, and we're going to release it as a downloadable PDF for free on our website. It'll go out on somewhere on idlechampions.com. I don't have a URL for it yet, but we're going to release them through our platform for anybody who's interested in them. I mean, I know predominantly the people who are in the audience here are here for Idle Champions specifically, and not necessarily to play D&D at home. But for those of you who do like playing D&D at home, they will be free for you to access at your leisure. I believe the Unfair Seas, our PDF version, is targeted at players of 4th or 5th level, but the Idle Champions Presents show that B. Dave is DMing is 9th level. Because, well, he wanted players to be able to do more stuff. B. Dave, he likes doing high-level DMing, so... but the subsequent adventure, which the players will be playing and we will be releasing as a PDF after the Unfair Seas adventure completes, we will eventually release that one as well. Sean, will there be battle maps? That is not something that we're planning to do at this time. Theater of the mind. Maybe someday we'll be able to leverage a relationship with Dwarven Forge or something to get little sets made so that we could feature battle map sets with beautifully painted minis on it. But that is pretty much exclusively in the domain of Critical Role at this point. That's not something that we're trying to do. Someday. That's a goal. Yeah. Let's see. Seconding that shiny and golden items are difficult to tell apart. Item borders could be stronger in general. Okay. That's valid feedback. What's interesting about that feedback, Andy Jacody and OG17 and somebody else, Almeida Alvaro, who was asking color blindness related things, is that we haven't received a lot of feedback before about the legibility of our UI and different colors and stuff like that. It's just not something that comes up very often, and I don't believe we have any developers in our office who are working with color blindness, so or any other kind of visual impaired things. So yeah, I'll just pass it along. Alrighty. If there was a buff that gained potency based on natural 20s, I'd vote for it. Yeah, fair enough. Alrighty. Can we spend channel points to do something like give somebody bardic inspiration? I appreciate that thought, Garwar. It's interesting. We haven't... I'm not going to lie. We've... Doing something with our channel points and, the possibility of leveraging bits on our channel has been on the to-do list for a long time, and we haven't really had time for it. Yeah, so hopefully sometime soon we can. Are there any chances of adding Orkira, the beautiful dragonborn cleric of the Phoenix, to Idle Champions? That's a leading question. Is there a chance? Well, I mean, I'll go ahead and say that Lauren is one of my favorite people, so there's that. But I think the thing to focus on is, there's a few members of a certain party that we've been building out that we haven't added to the game yet. So the chances of them coming to the game are better than a lot of other characters. Yeah. Let's see what's next. Will the PDF be on the Cne homepage? I don't do Twitter and stuff. Yes, I'm not sure where on the website our PDFs will end up being, because we'll probably have to create a page for them specifically. But yeah, when we do, we'll definitely share the link out, because yeah, I think that's fun. If I cast Wish, can I choose the other guest star? Unfortunately, not at this point. But like, say, you know, in a world where everybody really enjoys the show and participating in the show, and it's something that everybody likes, you know, it'll be possible that there's more of it beyond the 6 weeks that we have planned. And if there's more of it beyond that, then, you know, that opens the door to all other kinds of options for contributing to it, to voting for things, etc. So, you know, I don't want to make any promises that I can't keep, or that, you know, you know, but it's possible. It's possible. Yeah. Let's see. If the audience spent enough channel points, could they upgrade the potential rewards / loot pools? I don't know about that. Like, I don't even know that we can guess how many channel points people have on average. Like, I have a lot of channel points for the Cne Games Twitch. And if I have a lot, then some of you have vast orders of magnitude more than what I have. I don't know that we could plan anything out that used channel points in an effective way that you guys wouldn't be able to gain by already having probably, you know, 150, 250,000 channel points. Yeah, there we go. 115k Argreen Paradox, 50k for Lauren, 65k for Sean. I'm down to 20k because I spent a bunch voting for the thing that we tried out on Bardic Inspiration. But yeah, there's a lot of them. So, oops. So I don't know that we could plan anything around using the channel points to that. If we were going to do something, it would probably, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure yet, but we don't really have a good way of guessing or planning that out. And you do kind of want to know. You want to know what the possibilities are before you commit to doing something like that, right? Let's see. How many people are involved in writing the Idle Champions Presents adventures? Will there be an option for guest writers? So, for the PDFs, we have the initial writer of whichever the in-game adventure was. In many cases, it was Justin. And then we have the team that worked on adapting it, which would be 95% Scott Fitzgerald Gray and 5% me, usually. And, you know, Scott's been doing this a long time. He's a pro. You know, we spend a lot of time going back and forth over an outline of what a one-shot is going to look like in terms of what kind of encounters there'll be where and which parts of the adventure to base each thing on, and trying to make sure that there's a good mix of social or role-playing encounters and combat, and trying to create ways for those things to be unique. And then he fills it out. Like, he can write. It's impressive. Now, because to date we have been adapting adventures from the game, like the Unfair Seas, similar to what we did with D&D Beyond before. You know, there isn't room for guest writers right now, but that doesn't mean that there never will be. Will voting be presented as a banner similar to week-long events? Please don't do an intrusive pop-up. I mean, it's an interesting way of phrasing that. We want people to notice this. You know, when we don't make something noticeable enough, we get support tickets for players who miss things. Think about some of the anniversary celebrations where people forget to get chests, or they forget to get their 4th chest, so they miss out on the reward at the end because it's not noticeable or intrusive enough. You know, I think we will probably do this pretty similar to what we've done before. I think it'll be up at the top of the screen, similar to, you know, where the event banner is, would be my guess. Granted, I haven't seen the final design yet, but I expect it to be up here. And yeah, it's got to be visible. I get that there are players who set up scripting or set up other aspects of the game, and they don't want more pop-ups or more things that kind of disrupt their flow, and that's fair. But at the end of the day, we want everybody to see this, so it'll probably pop up right away. Okay. I seem to regularly not get the in-game note for stream, so I was late coming in. I am really confused with the voting thing. If I watch the VOD, will it explain it to me? It will. The voting aspect of it is... Let's see if I could do this in a way that somebody can clip in like 30 seconds. Every day in the lead up to each episode of Idle Champions, from the daily reset, one daily reset to the next, you will be able to vote on something related to the Idle Champions Presents show that will also have a corresponding in-game effect. You won't know who the winner is until the next day at the reset. We'll display the percentage who voted for each, and then you will get your rewards, or you'll be able to claim your rewards. One of the two things, depending on what the nature of them. And that will start on Tuesday, February 16th. With the last one, the 6th vote, wrapping up at noon on Monday the 22nd before the first episode broadcasts. And then there'll be a 24-hour break, and then the next Tuesday the 23rd, the next vote will start for the second episode. Did that sum it up enough? I didn't get into what each of them was, but it's voting to affect the show if you're into the show, voting for the thing that you're most interested in if you're not invested in the show, and collecting rewards. That's it. Is there any more information about the Modron updates? No. The only thing I can reiterate is what Peter said before he left. That was that doing a more concentrated, focusing more developer cycles specifically on fixes related to Modron automation and multi-party mode and offline progress, because there have been a number of bugs that have come up that they haven't been able to easily reproduce in the office or through the developer environment or through any of the test servers. And so they want to dedicate more time to trying to figure those things out so they can get rid of them. And then to add to that, when you submit an in-game bug report, a support ticket, send us an email, whatever it is that you use to report a bug to us, as much context as you can give. What adventure you're on, what area you're on, who's in your formation, screenshots of it, what you were doing at the time that something happened, all kinds of stuff. You never know exactly what's going to contribute to a bug, because, as Peter pointed out, one of the bugs they found on iOS was tied to somebody minimizing the game to make a change to their Spotify and going back to the game, which once we knew that, we were able to figure it out and fix it. But until then, we had, that's not a part of our routine testing. It's like, we're going to use Spotify on this thing. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It makes it kind of challenging. The unfair seas right next to the not very balanced lake and the OP archipelago. Yeah. Dylan, are you going to talk about the Steam Lunar Sale? Actually, Our Green Paradox, I don't think the Lunar Sale is limited to Steam. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on multiple platforms. I'm going to get that info, because that was something that came up pretty last minute for me, and I'm still not as familiar on. So I'm going to send a ping to the person who should have all that information. So that I can parrot it over. Yeah, my mod J is saying I'm pretty sure it's on other platforms as well. Yeah, what I would like to do is be able to get the information about specifically which ones. So I'm gonna send a ping to our live services manager, Chris Dupuy. Because I know it's not on all platforms, but it's on some platforms, and the reason being, not that we want to separate any kind of sales or anything across platforms, but we are able to more easily participate in sales on some platforms than others. Some of them have different lead time. They deliberately pick different dates for some of them, so it's very, very difficult to to do any kind of promotion or sale across all of our platforms at the same time. So yeah, it's tricky. If you can make the font bigger, yeah, that's fair feedback, Roger773. Yeah, I know that the way that our in-game assets are built and the way that the UI works, we can't like just increase and decrease font sizes as we would want to, but I'll make a note. Lauren, as Lauren pointed out, Orkira is already in the game as a feat for Penelope. That's true, actually. Let's see. Can you shed some light on what Todd Kenrick will be doing at Cne? Can I? So, for those of you who may not have caught the news, the awesome Todd Kenrick, goes by @ToddKenrick on Twitter, who used to be working with D&D Beyond, now works with us at Codename Entertainment. Todd's role with us is very similar to his role with D&D Beyond. Todd is a video master, an interview master, knows a hell of a lot about how to work different marketing initiatives, how to leverage video content, how to build video, how to do all this stuff. And as our company has grown into much more broadcasting and more video stuff, Todd has joined to help us take all those things forward. I know that's kind of vague, but it's his first week, right? Like he just finished with D&D Beyond last week, so I can't get into any of the specifics that Todd will be working on yet. And I'd like to leave that to him to talk about at his leisure. But one thing that Todd has done is he started talking to all of the cast from Idle Champions Presents to, start maybe releasing some videos tied to that, or at least that's in the pipeline, that kind of stuff. Plus, like if you looked at our YouTube page could use some work. Yeah. Let's see. Are there any plans to add extra iteration towards missions for patrons, as in increasing the difficulty once every challenge has been completed? I don't have anything I can comment on the future of patrons, but I can make a note for the correct people. The community challenge can limit the number of channel points you can put into a challenge. Oh, thanks, Lauren. That's good to know. Let's see. I would love to have a windowed mode that was freely scalable, either too small or too big or too narrow in height. Yeah, we just didn't design Idle Champions with that in mind, and so parts of it can't scale. So again, like, this is good feedback to get, and I'm gonna pass it along to the correct person. Yeah. Okay. Will the Unfair Seas be presented in Smell-O-Vision? No. Unless you like the stank of ocean and pirates. Next question. Let's see. More questions about Todd. I'm gonna let Todd get settled in to his new role, which is something that is still currently being defined. How he fits into with everything that we already have, kind of in various states of in progress. So I'm gonna let Todd settle into his role, and then give him the opportunity to update anybody on what he's working on. Just because I don't feel like it's really fair to talk too much about him or about what he's working on here, some of which we may not even be able to talk about yet. So yeah, I appreciate that people are interested, and what I can say is that we're very excited to have Todd on board, because Todd is awesome and he's very good at what he does, and we're excited about the possibilities of having him on board, what it means for what we can accomplish at Codename. Let's see. Will any of this require a hard game reset. Wandering Bereft. As I understand it, and I could be wrong, but as I understand it, once you have whatever the latest update is leading into Idle Champions Presents, that as long as you have the latest update, you should be able to interact with it. Sometimes that might require closing and reloading the game. Sometimes that might require completing an adventure or what have you. But similar to most patches we put out, either resetting your current adventure or closing and reopening the client should give you access to it once it's live. Frankie Ligo, what is a lunar sale? Well, it's the Lunar New Year right now, I believe. Is that not it? I think it is. Not today? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's coming up this weekend, Friday, February 12th, Lunar New Year 2021. So the sale is tied to that. So I know Steam has its own lunar sale thing set up. Some of the other platforms have similar things. So, yeah. Will you be getting any of the other people that left D&D Beyond? That's not really something that we can comment on, Master Burglar. I know that people are very interested in those folks because they participate so broadly in the D&D community, and many of them in the Idle Champions community as well, and we've worked with them on a lot of stuff. But it's so I can't really comment on anybody else's plans or what they've done because that's their news to share. All I can say right now is that we're super happy to have Todd on board, and we've had great working relationships with everybody that we've worked with at D&D Beyond. So, we're curious to see what Adam Bradford does. We're very excited about the possibilities of what's going to happen with, I don't even know who else left. A bunch of people all at once. So, yeah. We'll share news as we can, but I'll leave it to those everybody, what they share publicly is on them, I guess, right? Like, I don't want to, just because I have an inside knowledge on some of it, doesn't mean it's fair to them for me to talk about it, so I'll let them talk about it. Evil Emperor Zerg, when will Todd be on Idle Insights? That's a great question. I mean, Idle Insights is our talk show, and I've always kind of been of the opinion that the main reason that I end up doing this show more than Margaret or Chris Dupuy or anybody else at Codename is because I'm the only person who has a lot of background experience in doing guest interviews for things, having a background in journalism and doing some radio and some other stuff. But you know what? Todd has more experience in that than I do. I think he'd probably make a better host for the show than me. Certainly when we're talking to a lot of the people that we interview. But when will Todd be on Idle Insights? That's when he wants to be. Yeah, when he wants to be. Let's see. I have no idea why, but the game doesn't even start on my iOS iPhone 10. Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about why that might be. So, Padleak Pro, if you can submit, no, I guess you won't be able to submit a ticket if it's crashing every time you load. If you can shoot an email to idlechampions@codenameentertainment.com with as much context about the problem you're seeing. Like, yes, I know it doesn't load, but like, what else can you tell about it? What version of iOS do you have? What else are you running on your phone at the same time? As much context as possible, and maybe we can try to help diagnose that for you. One of the biggest challenges with developing for anything for Android and for iOS is the many varied devices that those operating systems are used on. Everything from phones to tablets and hybrids and everything in between. And we've definitely run into a lot of different isolated issues across them. Alrighty. Not sure if you saw my post earlier on not being able to see the bug tracker /file a bug report. When selecting an in-game, it correctly lists adventures I am on, but then clicking bug tracker open support, it doesn't acknowledge the info, and I can't therefore not report bugs, etc. Is this a problem you know of? It's not a problem that I know of, Coffeenia, but that's because I don't normally handle our support. That would be Sean. So that's a good one for Sean, and just making a note here for Sean. And Sean might even be in chat right now because he Sean always has windows for things open. Like, he's just always listening, always present. I bet he's there right now. I don't see him, but I bet he's there. Anyways, that's definitely something to report to Sean, since that is entirely his domain. Can you talk about the types of weekly challenges in games, something like a variant or a patron challenge? So the... Yeah, hold on a second, my throat. Need to take a drink first. So if you're asking about the weekly challenges that allow you to earn more votes for Idle Champions Presents, I can't get into that yet. That's something that will be coming, but I don't have any details to fill. So, yeah. Todd Kenrick, Dylan is amazing. Oh, thanks, Todd. Okay. Oh, is that everything that was in my queue? Oh, I'm out of questions. What do I talk about? What do I do? Do I just sit here? What happens now? Let's see. Oh yeah, this Ashara formation is just still kind of just tearing through. That'll be going for a while. I think my last idle play was to 800 here. Now we dance. Sean's like, I come back from coffee and see my name. Sean, Coffeenia has a strange bug reporting related issue that's about bug reporting that they will relay to you, because that's a weird one. Dylan, is Todd familiar with playing Idle Champions? I'm picturing something like Evergreen Champions with a new student, maybe Todd's Champions. What I could tell you about coming on board to any company is that any company that has games already out, getting caught up on enough information about the game to be helpful in talking about it or answering questions. And I am acutely aware that at this point, I am not as helpful as players would prefer I was, because I don't have all the answers related to what the devs are working on, because I don't work closely with them on the game anymore, and we don't share an office, and so the way the information is shared around it. Anyways, I know that what I know, I don't always feel like is adequate enough, even though I understand how to play the game, don't really have a lot of difficulty completing all the adventures and variants in it. Well, most of them. But, let's give Todd some time to catch up. Is what I'm saying. There's a lot to learn. And, Idle Champions is definitely one of those games that the initial concept is very, very easy to figure out, but becomes increasingly more complex the further you get and the more characters you unlock. I still struggle to wrap my head around some of the stuff that people have been able to do, like debuff clicking and other things that it just is not how my brain thinks about the game. Dylan, how long did it take to put the new stream together? Well, our Green Paradox, we are still putting it together. We locked in the cast towards the end of last year. We had locked in B-Day for it probably 5 months ago. 4 or 5 months ago at least. First floated the idea, got him to book the dates, and then started working with him on the integration and all that stuff, and bringing him on board. So that started a little while ago, months ago. The most important part for us, especially when it comes to the cast, is if you have people that you want to work with, you need to get their availability sooner rather than later, because people who are awesome are in demand and get busier. Just think about all the cool stuff that Christina is doing now with the Star Wars High Republic show, and I don't even know what other opportunities are going her way right now, but scheduling people can be a challenge. So you want to get that, you want to book availability as soon as you can, and then planning out making the one shots, designing them, and designing all that stuff. It came together relatively quickly. you're talking about maybe days or weeks of effort for that. Planning out the voting system and how the integration would work, and that required a number of developer meetings and follow-up meetings with B-Dave and planning meetings, and we've been doing that since November or December. November, I don't know, a few months now. That kind of stuff takes a lot of planning. And then the January and February so far have been very much making the things happen. We're taking a bunch of these characters out on the unfair seas. Well, maybe some of them should dress the part, but if you want to dress the part for it, that requires planning and coordination too, and then art time, and then animation time, and so there's a lot of stuff. Car pirate costumes. I mean, I'm not going to say that there won't be pirate costumes. So yeah, there's the lead time is pretty substantial. Yeah. But yeah, how long did it take to put together? I would guess 5-6 months total. Part of it also is a lot of the stuff that we develop for Idle Champions now requires a significant amount of lead time. For example, things for builds that go out for Nintendo need to be confirmed 2 months out. It's one of the reasons why our champions are designed so much further out now, and also one of the reasons that people are able to data mine so much of that stuff out so much further now, because the data miners know who our next 2 or 3 champions are, or at least they think they know who the next 2 or 3 are. But there's information about 3 or 4 upcoming characters in the game files in various ways, and if you want to spoil that for yourself, you can, but I'm not going to talk about it here specifically. But yeah, lots of lead time for this stuff. But the integration that Peter and I were discussing earlier in this episode, that was meetings towards the end of the last year, and then they kind of booked the developer time for it, and they got it almost all of it wrapped up already. But then some of the other stuff, they kind of laid the groundwork to implement down the road. That's why there's things in patch notes what was it we said this time? Something about future something. Our phrasing was great. I loved it. It was wonderful and vague. Added tech and content to support upcoming features and releases. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, let's see. Okay. Could there be an option to not speed up animations when using speed potions? I don't know, Alpha Crawl. I mean, I get that it's irritating to watch fast champions in the background. I tend to minimize the game when I'm doing that. At the same time, speed potions functionally increase the speed of everything. So I'm not sure if there's an easy way for the game to have the same animation speed for everything except while also moving faster. Yeah, I don't know if that's a possible thing. I can pass that feedback along, but I don't know how possible that is. Let's see. Todd could be a guest on Evergreen Champions learning how to play. Oh yeah, that's possible. Are we getting pirate skins? I would say that the chances of champions having adventure appropriate attire are pretty good. Do you ever try to fake out data miners? Without getting into specifics, we have faked out data miners in the past. But yeah, sometimes we'll... I mean, it really depends. It's not like it's something that we think about on a regular basis or work on a regular basis. And often we just, enter in data as it comes up. But we have seeded information in the system that is not correct before, just cause. Or sometimes we'll hold off on parts of information until closer to release, and sometimes we'll just change things a lot in the lead up. And the danger of data mining is that the stuff is not publicly accessible because it's not complete. So, more skins but no Viper fix. Well, you see, the thing is, more skins. Like, say we were going to make more skins, or more familiars, or more familiar skins, or more click skins, or whatever. Those require artist resources, not developer resources. It's a very different thing. I'm not saying that we have an infinite amount of art resources either, because our artists are busy, and oh man, are they drawing some cool stuff these days. Stuff that I badly want to talk about, because I think it'll be among the most exciting things that happen in-game at all. Certainly in the history of Idle Champions. But I also don't want to talk about until it's something that is locked in, that's been tested out, that like things that are like getting close to being released, because I don't want to disappoint anybody by talking about something that maybe it isn't feasible. Maybe something shuts it down. Maybe there's a bazillion ways that something can not happen. So until we know that it's going to happen, we like to play the cards pretty close to our chest, just because we don't want to disappoint players. Let's see. We appreciate all the hard work and time it takes to make all this cool stuff for us, so thanks to all of you. Oh, thank you, Our Green Paradox. Yeah, that's really nice feedback. Let's see. There's a lot of helpful third-party web pages made by various community members. However, using these are difficult for players on non... is this something that you would consider making a solution for? No. Those third-party pages that use your user ID and hash value and all that stuff, that is, outside the scope of our... Yeah, we are just straight up not going to do that. That is a use at your own risk kind of thing. Let's see. Would it be possible to sort champions by year of release in the TimeGate champion selection screen? I don't know, Billiamsworth. It seems like something that should be easy enough. I'll pass that along. Adding an additional way to sort the TimeGate screen. Yeah. Pancake skins. Fire the artists and hire more developers. Oh no, we want, we have hired more developers. We don't make public statements on a regular basis talking about people that we've hired. We don't, and we certainly, the Codename Entertainment staff page is out of date. Because if I just go to the page right now, oh yeah, it is missing. It's missing at least 3 artists. It's missing at least 1 more person from marketing, and it's missing 3 or 4 developers, which is to say we have hired more developers, and we do have more people working on things. But we're a video game company. Things shift around internally, and some people take over roles and move over to other projects and other stuff. Yeah. Is there a better way to choose a champion in the collections tab? I don't know. Is there? I'm not sure what kind of answer you're looking for there, Master Burglar. I like statistics. Some of the third-party resources offer statistics which are available to see any team, but players don't have access to them in-game. Number of chests open, pity timers, pounds of happiness. So you want more access to stats in-game. Okay, Old Man Lane, that is feedback I can pass along. The thing about stats is... so our devs have talked about this before. Like, nobody's against adding more stats. They just want to make sure that the stats that we add are the ones that people want, and that once we've done an update where we create more ways to view different stats, that you're not going to continue to ask for more stat updates down the road. Like we would ideally have like a sort of defined list of these are the stats that we want to show, and then we can like focus on making that a reality and then move on from it. Going back and forth to that kind of feature is something that we don't really want to do. Okay. Idle Champions Presents looks like a bold experiment in some new areas for Cne. The cast and crew clearly are awesome. I'm just curious if you want to share what is the most awesome part of the project. The awesome part of the project, I think, based on some of the feedback we've received and some of the reaction that I've seen, we kind of, when we announced Idle Champions Presents, and we talked about voting for the show you want to see, I don't think I did a good enough job of explaining that this will have a lot of effect to your Idle Champions, the game, if you want to engage with it. And I think that what excites me about it is, as B-Dave would talk about, is the nature of a transmedia project, a project that has different types of multimedia application that are all related to the same thing. We have a TRPG show with an awesome cast, yes. They're playing their characters from Idle Champions, which is, kind of, I think is super, super cool. And they're playing them in a TRPG one adventures based on adventures in Idle Champions. It's like, okay, cool. So it's like, it's Idle Champions. But what's really interesting about it that I really like is that in-game, you spend a week leading up to voting for the kind of stuff that you want to use to impact the next episode, and then you watch that episode, and you already have an in-game effects of different types just from the votes, and then you get to see what happens in the episode, and stuff that happens in that episode can then also impact what happens in game, and so game affects the show affects the game affects the show affects the game. I think that gives it a really exciting and interesting reason to tune into an episode, because I think that's fun. And if everybody decides that you've been cursed to speak only in iambic pentameter, and then you have to listen to Mark Meir improvise speaking like Shakespeare wrote as his part, I think that's awesome, and it's fun because it adds the fun energy of what makes live play and live improvisation so awesome to the game. But it's also what people chose to do that with. Yeah, so that's what excites me about it, is the interacting with the show, and then the show interacting with the game, and interacting with the show, and the show interacting with the game. And really we're trying to create more fun, more reasons to tune in for our community. So we'll see how it goes. I hope you like it. Okay. Are there plans to add a friends option to the game, like a friends list or progressive? There aren't. We've kind of very distinctly kept away from multiplayer type stuff for this game. It doesn't mean that we always will, and certainly we have a sort of multiplayer adjacent feature that we're interested in the possibility of. I don't know that it'll happen, but something that we're interested in. But yeah, friends lists, that kind of stuff. I mean, you'll just have to rely on, if you're on Steam, using your Steam friends list. Like we're not adding something like that into the game. With the growing roster of Timegate/IAP only champions, have you considered adding more ways to unlock those champions? In some years, it might feel intimidating to new players, giving the Electrum chest a low chance to roll a Timegate piece in the place of gems. That is an interesting suggestion for the Electrum chest. I don't know, it's something that we do, but we're pretty happy right now with how quickly players are able to unlock champions. Yeah, because yes, like to the player who started today, it might seem daunting the fact that there's like 65 or 70 champions in the game. But this is the 12 you start with. You get hits from the newsletter list. You got 4 more that you get through evergreen unlocks that you get through play. It's like, okay, well that's a decent chunk of the total list already. And then, events every 3 weeks ish. You can get up to 3 champions in an event. Additionally, there are time gate weekends in between where you can get a champion of your choice. And you'll also be earning time gate pieces. And to be honest, I don't think it's like, if it's something that we see as an issue down the road because there's 200 champions and no way to get them all, then okay, fine. We might take a step back and look at a way to, get new players to get more characters more quickly or something like that. But right now, you can get a lot of characters pretty darn quickly, and on a semi-regular basis there are people in the community who kind of like start accounts over or start new accounts and see how quickly they can get up to the current meta, and it's always surprising how fast that ends up being, especially if they only focus on the top tier, the S tier or A tier champions that they unlock first, because there are champions that, grabbing Zorbu means you're going to get further, grabbing Krull, even in light of his recent fixes, means you're going to get further, that kind of thing. So, yeah, there I just see in chat Garwar saying that he had 40 champions in 3 months via the Marzawar challenge, which I'd totally forgotten about the Marzawar challenge. Yeah. Okay, so. Is there any chance of adding feats to the collections tab or a better way to see missing feats? There is a chance, Rainbow Bro. It is on our list. Excuse me a second. Thought I had to cough. It is on our list to make it easier to see which feats you have and are missing, that kind of stuff. And I don't know where it is on our priority list, given some of the stuff that we're working on. That is a much higher priority than this. I don't know where it is on our priority list in terms of implementing something, but it has certainly been discussed, making it easier to see what feats people have and what's missing, etc., and to have a more consolidated space for it. We did feel that the gem store was not the right place for it, even under its own tab, because there are hundreds and hundreds of feats. So, yeah. Any chance of adding feats to the collection? Okay, no, sorry, I just read that one. Will it be possible to get all in-game content without donating into the game? I mean, we'd obviously very much prefer that you did contribute to the game in some way financially, because that's what keeps the lights on. That being said, you should be able to unlock and earn equipment for every champion in the game, up to Epic. With silver gilding, shiny, not necessarily a golden epic equipment for everybody, given enough time invested in the game. How realistically you can get all epics for an individual champion or more than one champion per event, like that's pretty hard. There's some RNG involved, but yes, you can unlock every character, you can earn equipment for every character, and you can complete all of the adventures, maybe not all the variants, it really depends, but you can complete basically everything without spending, if that is your prerogative. And honestly, if you have the patience to do that, all the more power to you. Let's see, how does Nightbot get updated? Somebody mentioned developer Q&A was a hidden code today, like 20 minutes ago. We don't always put the hidden code in the exclamation code blurb. It's a hidden code. And the reason we don't always put it in the blurb is because when we did, people who like discovering them get robbed of that opportunity. And so so we don't always do it. It really depends. Yeah. It was a really easy one this week. I will also add, sometimes they're more challenging, but this one was not a difficult one to find. Yeah. Now, that being said, I haven't seen anybody discover one of the 2021 hidden combinations in a while. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe Thunder is here, but are we still at 11 out of 21 discovered? Because it looks to me like the last time a new one was discovered was on January 22nd. Is that true? Could somebody let me know? Still at 11. Okay. Let's see. Out of the ones that you have not found, I could say that the hint for the Toragar Steelfist code was in the last interview I did with Joe Manganiello on this show. Well, I guess it wasn't technically Idle Insights, it was the weekly Idle Champions live stream, but the second Joe Manganiello interview on the weekly Thursday live stream has the hint for the 2021 Toragar Steelfist code in it. So that's the hint I'll give this week, and we'll see how people do and whether or not when to do another one. Now Dupuy got back to me about. Let's see. Looks like our lunar sale is on every platform but PlayStation 4. PlayStation 4 gets its own sale late February that is sort of similar to the lunar celebration. Lunar New Year. All right. Let's see. People get the easy stuff quickly, but without any kind of direction, there isn't much motivation to keep looking. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know, maybe what I'll do is I'll start, for the weekly Thursday show, I'll start having a hidden code that's relatively easy and then a hidden code that's super difficult for those who like the challenge. Because, why not? Because that's fun. Let's see, are there any future plans to add upgrade potions at a 5-to-1 or a 10-to-1 ratio to allow you to take lower tier potions and make them into higher tier potions? There are not. One of the things that's interesting about lower tier potions that I think gets disregarded by people on a pretty regular basis is that they stack with every other tier. So if you have 4 tiers of speed potions, you can use all of them at once for an even greater amount of speed. So I don't think the lower tier ones are as useless as a lot of players might think. The ones that are possibly the least useful are the ones like the really low tier champion damage ones or champion health ones aren't. They don't feel very valuable. I get that, but we don't have any plans to allow you to upgrade potions to higher tiers. Oh god, if you can play Idle Champions on the PS4, I wonder if the VR would work with that. Oh, don't, Luke. Don't do it. I don't think that would feel good. Oh man. Just that. Back to finishing my tea. And if you're wondering, this is an Earl Grey vanilla. I feel obligated to say now, since Mar spent a minute describing all of the teas that he had last week on stream. Oh, that was such a good moment. Do you have any other questions for me related to Idle Champions Presents or any of that stuff? I know that some players were hoping that the big hype new announcement was going to be a new feature or a champion update or something. And my bad. I am very, very excited for Idle Champion Presents. So, I let my enthusiasm get the better of me when I talked about it. So, yeah. But it's a fun one. It's been a really fun one to help put together, and I hope you guys like it. And like I said before, check out this week's episode of Dungeon Drunks. Came out yesterday, in which B. Dave, Mark Meir, and Aaron M. Evans join as guest players, playing their Idle Champions characters, Freely, Havilar, and Baloth Baratil, because it's super fun listening to them, and I can't wait to listen to them as well, with Vivka playing Black Viper and Christina Ariel playing her character, and our unexpected guest, because I think every single person on the show has played D&D with each individual other person at least once. There might be a couple that haven't, but it might be the first time that a couple of them are playing in a show together or something, but they're all pretty awesome members of the D&D community. I'm very excited for it. Where did you get your tea from? This is one I think it's a local-ish brand. David's Tea. Garwar, I think B. Dave said he had never played with Christina. I don't think B. Dave has DM'd Christina before. I do think they've played together. I don't think they've DM'd together. Dylan, seeing Freely in the poster has me wondering, will Freely appear in the adventure? I mean, the lucky boy is always a possibility when B. Dave is present, right? So, that poster, that was a fun one to talk to Luke about. I mean, Luke did all the work to make it awesome, so I don't really feel like I contributed too much. But the idea was that we were taking the poster for Labyrinth, the one in which, David Bowie as the Goblin King is holding the snow globe that has Jennifer Connelly in it. And the idea was like taking that sort of idea of that shot, but having Freely holding the characters, like, yeah, which is probably how B. Dave also thought about it. And then, we have a couple more coming. Yeah, we're very excited for it. That's fun. Enrique K. Dylan, you have done a great job of assembling a killer lineup of shows. Oh, thanks. Yeah, we have. It's been fun. It's been lots of fun. It's interesting. It's different. And our shows are so different, right? Like Champions of Lore is as much a podcast as it is a live stream, and similar to Champions of Psychology. And then Improvised Champions is people just riffing, kind of like it's an improv jam kind of deal. And Bardic Inspiration, we make a song, which is really creatively gratifying, I think. And on this show we tend to talk to guests, although mostly been me talking to you today. But we bring on guests to talk to. And some of our other shows are more gameplay focused, but it's we want to make sure that we have a healthy community of shows for you to engage in if you want. And Idle Champions Presents is a show you can engage in if you want. You can engage with the part of it in game if you want. You can reap the benefits either way. But I think you'll find it a lot more rewarding if you actively participate in it and then watch the show, and you participate in the full loop if you want. When do we get a karaoke stream for Idle Champions? So we were going to plan. There was a plan for Unfortunate Karaoke to be Unfortunate Karaoke to be a part of our Extra Life last year. And unfortunately, literally the day before we were going to host our 2020 Extra Life, the province of British Columbia instituted new orders for health and safety related to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, and we had to cancel the day before. And let me tell you, a lot of work went into planning and testing everything out to make sure that we had 24 hours ish of content planned out. I mean, a good chunk of it wasn't fully planned out because some of it was just like multiplayer, but I was gonna, we had all this stuff, and karaoke was part of it, but unfortunately that bit the bullet. I don't think that karaoke will likely be a reality until Sean and Margaret decide to make unfortunate karaoke into a thing. So we'll see. Okay, what do we got? Is Redacted going to be in all three of the shows, or could that be part of the voting? I can confirm that it is a different special guest for the first adventure than from the second adventure. Redacted in both cases in order to... Well, you'll see. Are the songs themselves available on any streaming services, and if not, any plan on adding them? So if you're referring to the songs from Bardic Inspiration, they only exist on Bardic Inspiration. And if you're referring to the current backgroundy music, the stuff that we tend to use for a lot of our streams, that comes from the soundtrack for one of our old games called Shards of Titan. I don't know that we plan to add them to any streaming services. Yeah. Gaspacioso, what's a hidden code? So, if you're new to the stream, up in that corner, like way up in that corner, you see combination year 4 dev Q&A exclamation, which is the free code for this stream, as well as the expiry information. And then on this show specifically, on Idle Insights, we often also create another hidden code or two that is tied in some way to that episode. The one for this episode has already been discovered. It was relatively low-hanging fruit. It was relatively easy for somebody to find, and so it's already been discovered. But yeah, you put this into the locked chests and combinations feature in your client of Idle Champions, and you will be able to get some free loot, a free chest, Electrum chests today. What I'm hearing is that the last time you threatened to do a karaoke live stream, they shut down the entire province to stop you. Oh, that's hilarious. That's so funny. Alas, that was probably not the case. I assume that Margaret and Sean can sing better than that. I can't though. I don't sing. I mean, I'll sing Baby Beluga to my daughter to help put her to sleep, but that's it. Oh God, who knew that I would know the lyrics to that so well by the time she was a year old? Alrighty. Has Jason Charles Miller already done the theme song for Idle Champions Presents, or is that something we could do on Bardic Inspiration? He hasn't. It's not something that we have discussed with him. I should at this time actually note a couple of things that I just realized that I haven't been talking about this week. Monday, February 15th, is Family Day in British Columbia, which means it's an office holiday for Codename Entertainment, and we will not be happening. But it also means that a number of the other things throughout next week will be shuffled around because of it. So what does that mean? So Champions of Lore will still broadcast at the regular time on Monday. Improvised Champions will not. Bardic Inspiration will also not be broadcasting on Tuesday. And that should be the limit of the streaming disruptions. I'm not sure if Champions of Psychology will broadcast or not. I need to follow up about that afterwards, because just Monday, Tuesday kind of gets jumbled up really awkwardly. So, what I'm planning to do is normally on Monday mornings or sometimes on Monday during the day on the Discord, I'll post the streaming schedule for that week. I am aiming to do that on Friday before we're done this week, just with all the stuff that's confirmed, just so that people aren't, like waiting in a chat channel expecting a show to begin or something. Holiday coming up. Oh, so disruptive. Anyways, you torture your daughter. If I ever have a kid, I'm singing it. You could be my dragon queen to it. Sing Baby Beluga. I'm not gonna sing to you guys. Come on. I do bardic inspiration so that Jason will sing to you, because Jason could sing. And I highly recommend you guys check out his Wednesday night request show. It got a front page featuring on Twitch yesterday, so there's like 7,500 people in there watching, which is like, that's a decent sized concert when you think about it, right? 7,500 people. Anyways, yeah, great stuff. And he did a couple of the bardic inspiration songs, including "You Could Be My Dragon Queen," and what else did he do? He did like either the Spurt or the Deacon song, one of those. I think it might have been Spurt. I can't remember. But yeah, bardic inspiration songs are part of his request list for it, so you can do them. Yeah. Channel points for Dylan singing. My God, no. Toragars, yes, he did Savage Fire, the song for Toragar Steelfist. That was one of the ones that was a satisfying one to both help write and get done. Oh man, I would love to hear that someday with like a full band. Alrighty, so so many companies overlook the value of the non-revenue driving departments. Cne, on the other hand, revels in them, and in the long run, it's what makes us, so many of us, love the game and the company all the more. Thanks for keeping your players first. Hey, happy to do so, Siobhan. So it's 5/2. This is about when I wrap things up for the week. I don't have any clever teasers. I'm planning to update the Idle Champions Presents blog to include some more of the voting information about what's coming, just to tease a little bit more. And then, kicking off next week, we're going to talk more about the characters that are going to be, who everybody's playing on the show, because we've announced a few of them, but we haven't announced all of them. And just looking forward to starting voting on Tuesday and all that other stuff. It's gonna be quite the ride. So, anyways, thank you for joining me today for my meandering. This has been Idle Insights for February 18th, 2021. No, it's not the 18th today. It's the 11th today. I wrote that down wrong. February 11th, 2021. Thank you for joining, for participating in both the Idle Champions and D&D communities. You guys are awesome. This show exists because of the hard work of a lot of different people, including co-producer and moderator Jay, our partners at Dungeons and Dragons, a lot of cool people at Codename Entertainment, and my wife for letting me use this corner of the room to stream for a couple hours. And finally, huge thanks to Peter for taking time out of what I know is a very busy schedule to join me today to start talking about the integration aspect of Idle Champions Presents and what players can expect. And we really, really hope that you enjoy it. Voting starts Tuesday. Take care, everybody, and we will catch you tomorrow morning for Griddle Champions. They have some really fun art this time. All right, see you guys.
Thank you.